television. So here's how it's going to work. We'll pick 2 winners and fly you to ESPN headquarters in Bristol, Connecticut. All you have to do is go to firstTakeYourTake.com. Be sure to read and follow all the rules for your chance to win. Then upload a 1-minute video with your best original sports debate. Please keep it clean. Plus, no music, team logos, trademarks, or copyrighted material. We just want you to be yourself on camera, impress us, shine. Winners will be announced November 23rd by our show staff. So get busy. We could see you guys right here at the debate desk debating these 2.
I also want to emphasize what they need to do is also while you're doing this, you're watching. I don't want a debate. I don't want to hear a debate from a month ago or 2 months ago or whatever. Watch the show. And while you're watching the show that day, send in your video, be ready to go. It has to be fresh. And I will be watching, and I will be judging, because a whole bunch of people out there chirping all the damn time. And usually folks in opposition don't give folks an opportunity to come and debate. You want to be in the hot seat. This is something that, you know me, I've been talking about this all summer long. Finally, it's official and it's happening. I would like to say I can't wait. I know people out there feel that way. Ahead of time, my condolences to what's going to happen to the winner that has to end up here. My condolences.
I see what's happening here.
What?
You see, before Muhammad Ali came around, everyone was scared of Sonny Liston or George Foreman. Just because I make it look easy, it's not going to be easy for you. He's hard to debate. Yes, I know you see me do it, so you think his aura of invincibility has been stripped. But the man is an excellent debater. That's all I'm telling you. And me, I know you don't have any shot against me.
What if you get
you know that already. You just
TV?
figure maybe I could beat Stephen A.
What if someone just comes out here and owns you right on national TV?
That is impossible.
Really?
It's impossible.
He says it's impossible.
There's nobody that's going to come on First Take and school me. First of all, I'm still waiting for him to win the debate. There's nobody that's going to come on national TV and school me. Listen, we're going to take, listen, I mean, listen, so many people. I mean, even on my Facebook page, I had over 1 million people reach out, talk about when does this start? When does this start? Literally over 1 million people. I'm telling you right now, there is nobody, I repeat, nobody that's going to come on national TV and sit up here and smoke me. I promise you that. I'm not even concerned.
I have faith in you all.
I'm not even concerned.
But before we get to our first topic, again, I want to say thank you for this idea, Stephen A. This is great, and it's going to be awesome for
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to so many people talking.
I can't wait to meet these people.
Going to have a male and a female winner. We're going to
love it.
Public humiliation. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
Well, they brought it on themselves. They brought it on themselves.
Well, here's a topic they could potentially debate, right? So let's get into our first one. We begin with America's team and one of America's favorites. Brett Favre was asked on his weekly Sirius XM NFL radio show, if you were Tony Romo, how would you handle getting your job back?
I tried to put myself, say, in Tony's shoes. I'm sure Tony wants to play. I mean, he doesn't want to get injured. He wants to be productive. But you have to look at the dynamics right now, and they really are hitting on all cylinders. So this is hypothetically thinking. If you're Tony, you say, you know what? As much as I want to play, I don't want to press the issue. I want to play, but I'm going to let it play out right now. And it's probably better if Dak starts struggling, and then they bring me in, rather than they put me in, and then all of a sudden we're not hitting on all cylinders, and everyone's like, they should have got rid of Tony. Blah, blah. I mean, if I'm making sense. So I'm not saying that you tell Garrett or Jerry Jones, look, I don't want to play. I think you want to play, but look, I don't want to mess up the dynamics of the team. If we get to a point where we're struggling, then it's time for me to come in. Now, that's a hard thing to do. I just think you're better if you wait till you're really needed. And I mean, no disrespect whatsoever to Tony.
Stephen A., how do you feel about it?
I think Brett Favre is a flaming hypocrite for saying what he said. That's right, I said it. I mean, can you believe the stuff coming out of his mouth, of all people? This is the same guy that in 2008, after hinting towards retirement, couldn't make up his mind several times, ultimately retired in March of 2008, then decides to come back in August and disrupt everything that the Green Bay Packers were trying to do before they handed it. Ted Thompson, Mike McCarthy handled it adroitly and ultimately shipped him to the New York Jets, which, by the way, led them to a 9-7 record, but threw 22 interceptions that season, leading the league. This is the same Brett Favre that did not really want to sit up there and work with Aaron Rodgers. This is the same Brett Favre that had a guy in Aaron Rodgers sitting behind him for 3 years, did virtually nothing to help him, while literally fluctuating between making up his mind, not making up his mind as to whether or not he would retire. And you have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to sit up here and call out, the Dallas Cowboys. Well, if you're Tony Romo, you might want to wait. If you're Tony Romo, you know what? You're going to sit there. It's better for you to sit on the sidelines and wait and hope that this dude messes up, so then you could come in and save the day, as opposed to saying it's my job. I was just injured, but I'm back and I'm ready to go right now, and I want to disrupt chemistry. Who, in terms of quarterbacks, star quarterbacks, guys who were counted upon to produce, who disrupted chemistry more than Brett Favre? I want to know who. I'm quite sure he's a nice guy. The Wrangler jeans commercials certainly confirm that, because he makes sure to come across as a nice guy, and they make sure to let him come across as a nice guy. ESPN, obviously, without Walt Disney, says we love Brett Favre. Did you see? I can't tell you how many times, Max. I can't tell you how many times. And it's very little that I say. The Chris Bermans of the world, the Tom Jacksons of the world, I call them the institution, and all of these other guys. There is very little that I ever say to disagree with the institutions and everybody else. But I swear to you, I can't tell you how many times I wanted to throw up watching people at this network sit there and fawn over Brett Favre. Oh, look at him fall down and throw the ball underhanded. Oh, look at him jump into the arms of his offensive lineman.
Drawing up plays in the dirt.
He's drawing up plays in the dirt. He's like a little kid. The kid in him, it never left. He loves the game so much. Blah, blah, blah. Please. The guy was disruptive. The guy could not make up his mind. The guy wasn't the ultimate teammate in terms of helping his teammate get better. The guy was about himself in the latter part of his career, and the fact of the matter is, for him to sit up there and to say this about Tony Romo, oh my Lord, what nerve, you of all people. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I'm sorry, I ain't trying to hear that from Brett Favre. No.
Well, you're going to hear it. You see, hypocrisy is the tribute that vice pays virtue. Think about that one. You have to rewind it and think about it.
I do. I have to rewind it and think about it.
Hypocrisy is the tribute that vice pays virtue.
Okay.
In other words, you know at some level this is the right thing to do.
Yep.
So vice, the thing that you're doing wrong, has to pay tribute to the thing that knows it's supposed to be doing right. Was Brett Favre selfish in many respects in precisely the way that you described? Absolutely.
Okay.
So it seems as though he's being hypocritical here. However, Stephen A. Smith, in fact, what's happening is you're being hypocritical. And in your case, it's not even about vice paying virtue a tribute. It's simply, I have to imagine the blunt force trauma of having to go 15 rounds with Mohammed Kellerman every day on this show. That's what it's got to be.
You
now,
didn't go there.
Let's get this straight.
Go ahead.
Let's get this straight.
Kellerman. You must be crazy. Go ahead.
Go. If you're Cosell, I'm someone.
Oh, you know.
Let's get this straight. You have been sitting here telling me for weeks and weeks and months now that Tony Romo is overrated, essentially. That Tony Romo is being spoken about like he's this legendary player, but in fact, he's not as good as people think. Now, you and I disagree. I think he's an excellent quarterback. I guess you think he's something less than that. Or certainly you said he's overrated at times. What makes you think that Brett Favre, from where he's sitting, doesn't have the right to criticize Tony Romo? Brett Favre talking about Romo is not Brett Favre talking about Peyton or Brady or someone like that, according to you. So Brett Favre, who had never had an injury history, he was the all-time and remains the all-time Iron Man in the NFL. And even if I also think Favre was overrated in certain respects, he's certainly one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks who ever lived. I don't think anyone disputes that.
So what's your problem?
Well, you're acting as though Favre can't say this about Romo because Favre behaved a certain way.
Yes.
Romo ain't Brett Favre.
No, I agree with that.
Well, it's not the same thing.
No, what I'm saying to you is that if you're still playing, don't get me wrong. I understand in theory if you put it that way, I get where you're coming from. My point to you is that Brett Favre is not preaching what he practiced. Brett Favre was an entirely different person. Brett Favre wasn't the kind of guy that would do what he's asking Tony Romo to do. And I'm not saying he's not saying that because it's Tony Romo. He's saying it because he is saying, and from a football perspective, this is how you're supposed to handle such situations. That's what he's saying. And I'm saying the nerve of him to say such a thing. I got a problem with him saying that because that wasn't the Brett Favre that I knew in the latter part of his career.
Me too, because Aaron Rodgers better than Brett Favre ever was. And that's right, I said that. But Favre can be forgiven for thinking that guy, what are the odds that guy winds up as good as me? That's not the same thing as Romo for Dak. Dak might wind up better than Romo ever was, and right now is playing at a Romo kind of level.
But listen, what I'm saying to you is that Brett Favre is sitting back saying, you know what, if I'm Tony Romo, I just wait. I don't disrupt the situation when Brett Favre had no problem disrupting anything.
If he's Tony Romo, because Romo is operating on a certain level. But he's not
saying it because it's Romo. He's saying it because in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys in this particular situation, this is how that situation is. This is how it looks. And this is how you're supposed to conduct yourself. That is what he is saying. Yes, and I'm saying the nerve of him.
And he's being hypocritical, and so are you, because you're treating Romo as though he's elevated above how you usually put him.
No, I'm focusing on Brett Favre. I ain't even thinking about Romo.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about the words that came out of Brett Favre's
mouth.
So
Favre was talking about a lesser quarterback than Romo. That would still be wrong?
I'm saying yes, because I'm thinking about Brett Favre and how it's not consistent with how he himself
if he was talking about Brock Osweiler, would that be okay or no?
Did I not speak English? I said it don't matter who it is.
Of course it matters who it is.
Brett Favre coming out of his mouth and saying what he said, knowing how he conducted himself. What? Yes, dear.
Couldn't you say that he's arguing that he's actually defending Romo here? And he's saying, just let it play out. Dak's going to mess up. He's going to start throwing interceptions. Then you come in and be the hero. That's how you play it. And he actually has his back.
No, you can say that. I don't look at it that way. For me, I don't look at it that way. I look at him trying to come across, as the diva that he is, talking about this is the way things are supposed to be, like he's somebody that practices it. Brett Favre was a relatively polarizing figure in the latter part. He had a great year in Minnesota when they went to the NFC Championship game with the whole Bounty Gates fiasco. He had a great year that year, but the bottom line is 2 of the last 3 years with the Jets, and then obviously that last year in Minnesota, clearly it wasn't his greatest years. All I'm saying is Brett Favre was a relative distraction because Brett Favre couldn't make up his mind half the time over the last 5 years, whether he was going to play or whether he was going to retire. And at the quarterback position, how could you hold a franchise hostage like that?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely, Brett Favre did that. But I have an answer for you in terms of what Favre is saying. I think Favre is actually telling on himself. Favre is saying that this is how you scheme. If you want that job back, this is what I would do. I would play it cool.
That's how I was kind of
And then when the other guy starts to mess up, hey, I'm here. In fact, he's telling on himself in terms of his selfish tendencies. You can analyze it that way.
Work the system.
I don't mind that element. I don't mind that perspective. That falls in line. That falls in. No, I'm talking about in terms of his selfishness. That falls in line with what I think about Brett Favre, a guy that's passed for over 71,838 yards in his career. But you know what? I'm looking at his interceptions. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, there's 336 interceptions on his resume. I know he's one of the all-time great quarterbacks. He was a gunslinger. He was also risque. He led the league in interceptions a couple of times. I just look at Brett Favre and I'm like, the quarterback position, everything that we say that you're supposed to be about as a professional. We didn't hold Brett Favre accountable to that. We had a media fawning over everything he did to the point. I mean, I think if Brett Favre pulled out a box of cereal, folks would have went and got the damn milk for him. That's how bad it was. At this network, too. And here. Not just the NFL, not just the other networks. Here.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm talking about people walking around waving their Brett Favre pom-poms. It was embarrassing.
By the way, considering also this, you have to now reconsider what Favre said. Majkowski, the guy he took the job from, lost it to an injury. He twisted his ankle. In fact, I just saw Favre's first game because Jim Lampley actually called that game with Ahmad Rashad, and they played it. They